series entitled Yoga Explained. Yoga Explained. Last time, you remember, we were talking about the use of yoga to spiritualize this bodily vehicle, that it express divinity. Because through yoga, yoga means union. Those who practice yoga sincerely will unite their consciousness with the presence of God within, and by so doing, they will purify the bodily vehicle. That means allow it to vibrate at a higher rate of speed by the being one with the presence of God within, as the great word. I'm not saved by anything but that presence of God within us as a holy vibration. And we can be one with that more and more by merging in it through the techniques of yoga. That's why yoga is so important, as we say over and over and over, but you take it up, so to speak. It is very important. Last time we discussed about purifying the bodily vehicle as pertaining to the sense of sight. Just as we allow the vibrations of the presence of God within us to fall upon the retina, it will respond to the great light behind the solar light, or astral light, and by so doing, it will become more spiritualized and will respond to the presence of God in that astral light. And also it will respond to the images and the states of consciousness of that astral light. Just like ordinarily we can see only so much through these eyes. When you close your eyes, it's dark, but if you meditate and do yoga and keep your eyes concentrated on the spiritual eye at this point, the Christ center, then different vibrations will be perceived. All who do it find it so. And if you don't do it, you'll never know. You can read about it, you can know it theoretically, but not in reality. And so last time we talked about that, about keeping as much as possible the eyes at this point in meditation and focused steadily. The moment you gaze slips one way or the other, and you lose the focus, and you do not receive as much spiritual light as you will if you keep the eyes steady. That's why Master said, look steadily at the center of the light, because therein is the greatest power. And so, we wonder what the greatest hindrance to our receiving the spiritual light of God. And last time, you remember, we talked about it being the fact that restlessness, before which comes many desires. Perhaps they're hidden, perhaps they're not outward so that you can realize them, but they're hidden deep within in your subtle nature, in your subtle consciousness. And so, restlessness is the worst hindrance to the focusing of God's presence at the spiritual eye. Just like you remember we talked about moving the camera. If you hold the camera still and you take the picture, you get a clear picture. But if the camera is moving, you get a blurred picture. Same thing with the camera of the spiritual eye. If you remember that illustration, I'm sure it will help you. Now, tonight, we're taking up how yoga can be used to perfect the bodily vehicle in regards to hearing. In the astral vehicle, we find all the senses. They are not in the external organs like touch and sight and these eyes or these ears, but they're deep within in what's called the sensorium. We'll take that up next time. But the sensorium is where you see the beautiful flowers. You think you see them right there, but they're not right there. They're right within your soul or in the sensorium. And when you smell something, that's good. But you smell it deep within, in the soul. And so, all aspects of this bodily vehicle, from the senses to the different tissues of the body and the organs, can be spiritualized. so that they respond not to worldly vibrations alone, but to the heavenly vibrations which are right within and through us. We are living not just in this realm, we're living in heaven all the time, but we don't know it half the time. These are facts. Those who follow yoga will know these things. Sometimes, when the grace of God comes, and His love comes, you will see the whole astral plane. It's there, and you can record it. You have to spiritualize the bodily vehicle as such. Spiritualize it that it receives those things. So tonight, how the sense of hearing develops to register the higher vibrations of spiritual consciousness. Now we know that we hear only certain vibrations from a very low number to, I think it's 16,000. I may not be right, but if I'm wrong, correct me. But anyway, it's a very low rate of vibration. Now, even some animals respond to much higher vibration than we do, like the dog. Dog whistles, we've heard about, and other things. Other vibrations, animals respond to much more than we do. But we can speed up our consciousness so that it will react or respond to a much higher vibration than ordinary hearing. And you can easily do that if you will practice yoga, especially self-realization fellowship yoga, because that is built around Raja Yoga, which is a little the best of all of the yoga. So if you want to practice yoga, those of you who do not know about it, take the SRF yoga. There are many in this room who have practiced and can attest to that the results are there if you will do it. So, this sense of hearing is deep within us. And we respond to certain vibrations only as we live in this plane. But by merging in the presence of God within us, at the Christ Center, by keeping your attention there, and also listening with your soul, but you're so used to hearing in the ears that we have to listen with one ear first, then the two. Finally, you'll find that you're listening with your soul. Now, if you keep your attention that way, at the Christ Center, then the intelligence of God, which is at this point here, in the light, and in the sound which you hear at times, that will sharpen your sense of hearing so that you will respond to not just these lower vibrations of ordinary living, but you will respond to spiritual vibrations of the presence of God within you. And that means the kingdom of which Jesus spoke, the kingdom of heaven. If you look there, you won't see it at first. After you've meditated some time, you'll begin to see parts of heaven right in your consciousness, without question of a doubt. And so realize that the agency by which you speed up your sense of hearing, so to speak, so that it registers these finer vibrations of the astral kingdom within, is God's presence in the holy vibration or the Word. In that is everything. Everything is in God's Word, the holy vibration. Everything is there. Therefore, when you merge in it, even though it's just one aspect of feeling, or an aspect of sound or hearing, or all of them, you are receiving the great intelligence of God in that vibration. That's what changes you, and that's what makes your hearing able to register higher vibrations of spirit. That's what it means to purify and to sensitize this bodily vehicle that it manifests divinity. One aspect of divinity is sound. That's why when you play the organ and you listen intently and you turn your attention within, that sound takes you to the presence of the holy sound, the holy vibration. By your oneness with it, anything that concentrates you will take you to the holy vibration, because that's from which we have all come. We've all come from that. Vibration we are, products of vibration. I think I have a reference tonight which will point that out. And so, first, as we listen and try to spiritualize our sense of hearing, we hear first only outward sounds, and then as you turn in, you hear the bodily sounds, all of them. But then, day after day, by meditating with your attention inward, then you'll hear different sounds. Sounds which are of a higher vibration than the internal bodily sounds or this outward sound which you hear. And as you keep merging in the Word, the holy vibration, then you will register those vibrations. You begin to hear the different sounds of the astral body, which is a member of the heavenly kingdom, if you want to look at it that way. And so, hearing those astral sounds, then you will know and be able to see more of the presence of God within you as these more subtle vibrations, not just this external life in which we find ourselves. So remember, just behind the bodily sounds, we find these astral or cosmic sounds. According to the place of emanation, as the chakras in the spine, or the supreme center of the brain, or the medulla center, they all have a higher rate of vibration than ordinary worldly sounds. But by merging within, in the presence of God as the Word, remember His intelligence is in that, the intuition of God is in that. That's what sharpens up your vibration, so that instead of hearing these gross sounds only, you begin to hear the other sounds. You keep at it. Finally, you will be one with the cosmic sound, and from there on, there is no end to God's gift. So let us realize that first as you try to be one with these different sounds, those of you who are practicing yoga, especially self-realization fellowship yoga, as you listen first, and you hear the sounds of the body, then listen underneath, or concentrate more. Gently, then you'll begin to hear different sounds. Now, whatever sound comes to you, be one with it. It's the concentration that allows the Word of God to come in and change you. If your mind is this way, it can't get in. If it's one-pointed, it gets in rather easily. And so whatever sound you hear, just beneath these outward sounds in your meditations and in your practice of yoga or pranayama, whatever sound comes, merge in it with all your might. That's what concentrates you. That allows the power of God to come in and sharpen up your sense of hearing. And then as you merge deeper and deeper, the sounds become more subtle until finally the great cosmic sound, as the trumpet sound, is heard. And your consciousness begins to come up, rise to great heights. That's why yoga is so important. It will give you the techniques to do these things. And realize that if you, as you're listening, trying to hear these inner sounds of the subtle body within you, try and keep your attention here. If thine eye be single, thy body will be filled with light. That's one aspect of the Word. The other aspect of the Word is the sound, and the greatest aspect is the love, or the feeling. If you keep your attention here, this is the seat of spiritual vision, the seat of the presence of God in you. If you keep your attention there, gradually you will hear and feel and see at this point. Because God's consciousness is one. It's not dual like this outward consciousness. And those who will practice will find it so. At first you won't be able to do it, because we've listened so long to outward things, and our attention is in the outward vehicle of hearing, which is the eardrum and so forth, and the little mechanism there. And if you keep on in going in, then you'll find the sensorium, or the presence of God within you, in the deep spine, where all true realization takes place. So these few things we can remember in our meditations, and they will help you. Remember Master's words, and I always remember them, because in outward living it's so hard to keep concentrated on the one eternal truth. And he said, remember the light which you see, and that applies to every one of us, is the presence of God. That's God Himself. Why do we doubt? Habit does that. Habit of looking outward and seeing things and forgetting things. That's why Master said, that's not the song of the nightingale, and what's the rest of it? It's not the song of the nightingale. Oh, that's it, the center of the world. Detract my love from thee. That's because we're so used to, my, what a beautiful thing. My, what beautiful thought. How about God who made them? That's the key right there. Enjoy the rose, but don't forget the giver of all things. And so by focusing here, remember, that's the presence of God. Or the cosmic sound is the presence of God. The love which you feel is the presence of God. Therefore, if you keep your attention there, in your meditations, you will receive more of His presence, His high vibrations of love, or the great word, or the comforter of which Jesus spoke. It is this high vibration, which changes us. Not by works of righteousness are we changed, but by the washing and regeneration of the presence of God within us as the Word, the holy vibration, the Holy Ghost. And so, the most important thing is not to be sidetracked by manifestations of the Word or of God's presence, but to go right direct to Him. Otherwise, we may be sidetracked on visions and so forth. They don't ever give you satisfaction, full satisfaction. When God's love comes, then you will be perfectly satisfied, whatever He gives you. So, realization is the final point. If you remember this, realization of the Word is not an idea. It's the realization of an actual, or as being one with an actual vibratory reality. Everything is vibration. This pulpit is vibration. The body, flowers, everything is vibration. Now they come from one thing, and that's the Word. The holy vibration, the subtle substance of God Himself in all things, behind all things. So that's an actual vibratory reality, not just an idea, God is this, God is that, He's wonderful, He gives us the flowers, whatever. If you don't know Him, it's of little value. But when you merge in the Word, you will feel His actual presence of the holy vibration, the comforter of which Jesus spoke. Now we have a few references which I think will fit in at this time. First, from our Bible, a reference which we use very much and which is known, but it will do no harm to repeat it. In Revelation, the 1st chapter, the 10th and 12th verse. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and heard a voice behind me, a great voice as of a trumpet. I was in the Spirit means I was in the realm of higher consciousness, or vibration. Otherwise, he could not have heard that sound of the trumpet. Saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. That is, from that holy vibration, the cosmic sound, all things have come. Science has shown this and proves it every day by their experiments. So from this one thing, this one cosmic sound, all things have come. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending. And finally, in the 10th verse, the 12th verse, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me. I turned to see the voice. This is the sight, the sound of the sight. You may not think that's so, but keep on meditating, you'll find at the Christ Center, you'll find everything is there. Sight, sound, and love of the infinite. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. That means he saw the 7 centers of the sign, not with physical vision, but with spiritual vision, an intuition of the soul. One reference. Now another reference we have is in Acts. Acts, the 28th chapter of Acts, 26th, 27th verses. St. Paul said this. 26th and 27th verses. Go unto this people and say, hearing, ye shall hear, ye shall understand. Seeing, ye shall see, and not perceive. Hearing, ye shall hear, and shall not understand. Seeing, ye shall see, and not see. In other words, seeing with his eyes, you see, but you don't see reality. Hearing with this ear, ordinarily we hear lower vibrations. But when the sense of hearing is spiritualized and sensitized, then we will really hear the reality behind all things. That's Acts 26 and 27 verses, and 27, for the heart of this people is waxed gross. People are attached to outward vibration. And there is a dull of hearing. That means hearing the subtle presence of God's vibrations within. And their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their heart, that is, feel with their heart, the love of God, they should be converted and I should heal them. Just a little pointed remark by St. Paul. If they'd only look and see through the spiritual eye within, or hear through the spiritual sense of hearing, and feel through the love of God within, then I could heal them. That's what he meant to say. And finally, Romans, the 10th chapter, the 17th verse, as follows. And this is a very important reference. In this reference, we have three factors which we must not lose sight of. The Word of God, the cosmic sound, and faith. And this is what we read. So then, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God. You see, the underlying noumena is the Word of God. When through the Word of God you sensitize your sense of hearing so you hear the cosmic sound, then you will have faith. And not until then. You'll have belief before that. But when you hear the cosmic sound, because God's consciousness, His intelligence is in it, then you hear with a different vibratory rate of hearing than ordinary hearing. And with that cosmic sound comes faith. Because God's presence is in it. These are wonderful passages in our Bible. Now, finally, from Hindu philosophy, a few references from the autobiography of a yogi, which is the epitome, to our way of thinking, of Hindu philosophy. First, from page 245. 245. Remember, we're talking about sense of hearing, spiritualizing it so that we can record the spiritual presence of God within us as vibration of sound. So Patanjali, the father of yoga, says this. Patanjali speaks of God as the actual cosmic sound of Om. The actual presence of God, and the actual sound is God. Patanjali speaks of God as the actual cosmic sound of Om heard in meditation. Om is the creative word, the Alpha and Omega, same thing. Sound of the vibratory motor. Even the yoga beginner soon inwardly hears the wondrous sound of Om, receiving this blissful spiritual encouragement. We don't try enough. Hear the cosmic sound? That's God's presence. All scriptures say. Here Patanjali says the same thing. The yoga beginner soon inwardly welcomes the wondrous sound of Om. Receiving this blissful spiritual encouragement, the devotee becomes assured that he is in actual touch with divine realm. Let us make more of our meditations and make them deeper. Now another reference in page 165. As follows. Because man himself is an expression of the creative word. We talked a few moments ago that we came from vibration. We are vibration. And here we find this. Because man himself is an expression of the creative word, sound has the most potent and immediate effect on him, offering a way to remembrance of his divine origin. Now you can see how important it is, even though you get nothing else but the sound once in a while, how important it is to merge in it. Because as it says, we all come from this creative word. Sound has the most potent and immediate effect on him. Why? Because it offers a way to the remembrance of our divine origin. We came from that. These are wonderful truths we are listening to tonight. And then one more on page 151, those of you who like to read more about it. We have here reference to the holy vibration, the word spoken of in our scriptures, as well as in Hindu philosophy. And so the comforter of which Jesus spoke is the holy vibration within us. Or the Om of the Hindus, the Amen of the Mohammedans, the holy vibration, the comforter, the Amen of our Bible, and the comforter spoken of by Jesus. Its outward manifestation, or this Om, or witness, is the Om or the Holy Ghost, the outward manifestation of the presence of God within us. The divine, creative, invisible power which structures all creation through vibration. Om, the blissful comforter, is heard in meditation and reveals to the devotee the ultimate truth. For those of you who think lightly of the Om vibration, that will reveal to you the ultimate truth, because we came from it, and because God's consciousness and intelligence is in it. Finally, last reference is in page 275, where we read as follows. Just once more to clear up the point, keep your attention at this point while you're listening in the right ear, those of you who practice yoga. Keep your attention here. Why? Through the divine eye in the forehead, that's this, in the east of the body, the yogi sails his consciousness into omnipresence. Hearing the word, or the Om, divine sound of many waters or vibrations, which is the sole reality of creation. So keep your attention here. Then when you hear the Om, then you're in the unity of God's presence. When there's diversity, you may hear the sound outside, but it will come to this point, because God's consciousness is one, and His power is one, and His love is one. So there you have a few references, very pertinent references to why we should practice yoga, especially yoga of salvation, self-realization, fellowship yoga.